First, I just wanted to talk a little bit about why Deb and I, and Jenna's going to jump on later to help us with some of the Shelby stuff too, but kind of why we wanted to do this class and the structure of it. So I've had some conversations with different people about how they don't find the website to be as user-friendly as it used to be, for a variety of reasons. And I totally understand where they're coming from. And at the same time, I think that we're going in the direction that we need to with the website. So I just want to make it easier to navigate for people and give people the chance to ask questions and things like that too. And I think a lot of the usability functions that people are missing on the website is being able to use the search function for a lot of things. So we're going to talk about why that's not as useful with the structure that we're going with. And then trying to think. Yeah, and then there's also just some new functions that I'm using on the website that weren't being used before. And so, and some of them are kind of like you have to know how to use them to find the information. So I'm going to walk through that. And my hope for this is that we can all share this information with people around us too, that people can access this recording. I'm gonna let Jenna in real quick. But yeah, that people can access the recording, but also that, you know, if somebody is trying to find something on the website, we can also help each other try to do that too. So, and a big focus of mine when I first came on was when I got on to AUMC's website to learn about the church before I onboarded, I found it really difficult to navigate as a newcomer who had no idea what a lot of the different ministry teams were and things like that. And I felt a little lost just trying to find the information that I wanted as a newcomer. So that's a big part of why I've done a lot of restructuring too. Hey, Jenna. So that's been a big focus of mine, is to make it more user-friendly for people who are wanting to learn more about AUMC. Because I think, you know, we always want to grow. We always want to have that information that about our ministry, about our values and things be really front and center. And then we decided to add some, we've had questions about Shelby and the different things that we do with that. So we decided to kind of just put it all together and make one class out of it. So is my window being open? Can you hear a lot of background noise? Okay, good. Just want to make sure. So yeah, with that, Jenna, we're just kind of getting started on the website. So came at a great time. And with all of that, I just want to say too, the website is always evolving. We always have new ministries, new events happening. And so the website is never going to look the same when you get on it. And that's just something to keep in mind. And so I always want people to feel free to reach out to me with questions if you're not sure where something went or what happened to a web page or a form or whatever. So never hesitate to reach out to me and ask questions about the format if something has changed since the last time you used it too. So I'm going to share my screen now, and we'll just kind of start walking through the website. All right. If I can enlarge this. All right. Can you all see that? Okay. So this is the AUMC landing page, the home page. You'll see my email front and center here. So if there's ever any problems with the website, you can always contact me. And then right off the bat, we have an announcements tab that you can scroll through here to see events that are coming up soon. And so you can see we have a variety of different things here. Only 10 will show up in this little widget is what it's called. And so if you want to see everything that I have posted in announcements, you can click on view all, and then it'll take you to this page where you can see a full description or a link that will take you to more information. So some of them, like this one, I have just a full description. Others, I just have, this is where you can go to find more information. So I try to keep this really up to date with pretty much everything that's going on at the church that I know about. And so then we're going to go back to the homepage. And so the other thing that, so like this needs to be removed, but usually within Mondays are my day off, and I'm doing this because it was the only time that we could find to do it. So I haven't updated since yesterday, but you can see I try to keep different ministries that might not be a specific event. Like for instance, the Pick Your Passion campaign wasn't really like a 1 week event. So I try to put that on the homepage as opposed to putting it in this announcements reel, because then it stays up even after the first week is over, if that makes sense. And then as you scroll down, we have always the current sermon series, and then we have this week's worship link here. And then you can find just a bunch of quick links down here to different things, both on the website and to other web pages. We just have a little info about our worship services, our online live stream, and then our 8:15 and 10 a.m. This will take you.
Could you go back up?
Sure.
Just to, I want to see what you do with the eBlast sign up. What is that?
Oh, sure. So if people click on this link, I'm going to double click it and open it in a new tab. And can you all still see a new screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So this is for, if you're not already on the Friday eBlast sign up, you can just add your sign up here. Yep.
Okay. I thought that was if you wanted to do an eBlast.
Oh, okay. Nope.
Okay.
So that's a good place to refer anyone if they say they're not getting the Friday and Sunday eBlast.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you. All right.
And so we're going to touch on things like the planning form later, but this is an easy place to find some of those things. Also, Sharon, thanks for your question. And I just wanted to let everyone know, ask questions throughout, just unmute and holler at me. Because I think other people are going to have a lot of the same questions. And so watching the recording back, it'll be nice to have those questions answered, I think, as we go along. And so, yeah, and then we just have some contact info, a donate now button for Shelby. So that's the homepage. And I would say,
if you click on the RMN logo, does it take you to an explanation of what it is?
That is a great question. And no, it does not, but I can add that in. Yeah, I'd be happy to add that in.
I know there's a paragraph on the website somewhere that talks about becoming reconciling. And that might be a place to just go right there.
Yeah, that's great. I'm going to make a note of that right now so I don't forget. And
then, you know, I could even make a comment about the room at the table for all. If that one has had a link to our purpose statement or how that what that phrase means, the inclusion and all that's good stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Thank you, Ben.
Since all the other images are links too.
Yes. Yeah.
People that's get in the habit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any other questions or comments about the homepage that we want to talk about before we move on?
It's really attractive.
Good. Thank you. It's like I said, I think everything's always a work in progress when it comes to the website, but I do like the way that things are kind of turning out slowly but surely. So
is the YouTube link to old YouTube things?
It takes you to our YouTube homepage, and then from there, usually our YouTube homepage is like our most recent links show up first. but you can access older things. And then I'm actually going to go through like how to access old worship links from the website later too. So we can talk a little bit more about that. And we got somebody else in the waiting room here. So yeah, I can show you here actually. Might as well do it. Why not? So if we open that, this is what our YouTube homepage looks like. So at the top here, you can see these are our things that have gotten the most likes, the most views. That's what's up first. And now here is where our past live streams are. So if you want to rewatch Sunday's live stream, you just click here. And then these are our past uploads. So this is also the live stream link. And then this is this week's Friday e-blast and so on and so forth. So, and it just goes in chronological order backwards from there. So, all right. So then, from here, if we want to navigate to any of our other pages from the homepage, we're going to click on menu. And you can see that some of these pages have a drop-down menu, and some of them, like forms and registrations, don't. So each of these, except for, no, they all have a landing page. So I can click on just who we are, and that's going to take me to a landing page for who we are. And so you'll see some just very general information about AUMC, about our open and affirming, and a little video. And then from here, you can navigate to these different parts that all fit under how we are. So this is one of the things that I think can get confusing about the website, because if you click on one of these links, you start going down this rabbit hole and it's hard to find your way back out of it. So I really tried to consolidate things so that it used to be when I clicked on social justice here, this also had a drop-down menu. And so then you just keep going down this rabbit hole, like I said. So I really tried to consolidate things so that we have one drop-down menu here, but nothing underneath of that has a drop-down menu. So we don't really need to talk about these pages too much, I don't think. I think you're all probably pretty familiar. What I will do quickly is go to social justice. So like I said, we used to have a drop-down menu that had each of these as a separate tab. So now what I've done is, if you want to learn about our community of all creation, social justice stance for the United Methodist Church and at AUMC, you can click this one. If you want to learn about the economic community, you click here and this changes and you can read more about that. If you want to learn about the social community, you can click that, the text changes and you can read about it. So this is a way that we kind of avoid having this big long map of pages. What some people have found about doing it this way, though, is that things don't show up as much in search features. So if somebody wanted to know about like our core beliefs at AUMC, if they searched this, they would not probably find it. It might not show up in a search function, because our search function works better if it's the title of a page or something like that. So we can play around with that a little bit at the end, and some things still show up and some things don't. And there's sometimes just no rhyme or reason to it. It's just the website that we use is just working on that feature still. So that's kind of one of the biggest complaints about the website and the way we're using it now. So we'll move on to what's happening at AUMC now. This is going to be one of, again, the more important tabs, I think, for a lot of our current members. So when we click on this, again, it takes us to an eBlast sign up, more the announcements. These are the exact same announcements that are on the homepage, and they update together. So I don't have to update them in two different places. And then from here, we have the calendar, the circuit rider newsletters, and labyrinth walks. So people that want to know more about those things can click on them. We're going to talk a little bit more about the calendar. So this calendar can also be found on Shelby. And unlike the announcements, which again, I have down here, this is everything going on at the church, including the community organizations that meet here, the worship services, all the stuff that happens on a weekly basis is going to be updated in here, versus the announcements. I really only put, one-time events, and studies, things like that. Or, for the Bible study, this is only set until tonight, and then this will disappear tonight, because the people that know about it, and the people who haven't won't have that available to them, and they'll be able to come to look at it on the calendar or the web page where they know to find it at that point. So
yeah, it won't be upcoming anymore after.
Right. I mean, because it is weekly, like, I know there could be value in keeping it up, but the thing is that we have so many programs and stuff going on at AUMC that I feel like once something started, people either know about it or they don't. So, or they want to participate in it or they don't, which is fine. So if you're ever wondering if this is where you want to go, if you're trying to plan a meeting and you need to know what room you want to have it in, and, what other things are going to conflict with that, and different types of things like that. So that's where you can see this. And I think we just want to stress to more people, this was kind of Deb and I, that it's really important to look at this before planning your events. And I'm not sure that everyone knew where to find it before, but if you're helping plan an event, and you're still in the picking a date stage, it's really important to come look at this. And we want to try to spread out those big event programming as much as possible so that we're not conflicting. So that's just something that we really want to stress to everyone, and to utilize this calendar more.
I'm really glad to know this, because that's been my problem. Is I thought, how in the world do I know what's going on when I try to schedule something?
Mm-hmm.
So this is good to know.
Great. I'm glad. And then you can also, there's different views. So you can go to week, you can go to day, and then this is what we call agenda view. So you can see the different times and what's going on here. I think this is more of like a similar to the day schedule, but it's a little less deceiving, because sometimes you go to day or week and you see a whole blocked out period and you're like, oh, well, that's super busy, and it's not actually that busy. So I like agenda view best if I'm planning things a little more finely. But so that, yeah, there's a look at the calendar. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay, awesome. So then we close up this. Now we're going to move into our ministries, and this is where things, when I first got here, I'm going to tell you, I think we had at least 100 subpages of like on our website. So I've really done a lot to clean this up. And that being said, I think again, that affects the search function, because every individual ministry doesn't have its own web page now. So sometimes if you're looking for ministries happening at the Rising and you type in the Rising, it might not show up. And I know that that is frustrating for some people, but I just want you to know which web pages to go to find info about the Rising, so that if you type in something about the Rising and it doesn't show up in the search function, you still know where to go. So this, for instance, Fall Women's Retreat, this doesn't stay up all year. So this is going to stay up until the women's retreat is over, and then I'll take this web page down until next year. But things like adult small groups, this page stays up all year. And this is a really important one. So we're going to go ahead and click on that and talk a little bit more about it. So first, you'll see at the top here, we've got some shortcuts. So if you're wanting to know about seasonal groups, you can just click on this and it'll zoom you down to seasonal groups. Maybe you're only interested in music classes and groups. It'll take you all the way down to there. Pretty simple. You don't have to use those, but they're available to you if you want them. This link takes you to a different web page that we'll talk about in a little bit, but like this class that we're recording right now is going to go on a page for online learning opportunities. And so this will take you to a different web page. So then here for seasonal groups, you can see, click on the titles to the left to see more information. So right now we're on the Judgment to Hope Bible study, which started tonight. For some of you might know that. If we want to learn more about women's spiritual journey, we just click on this tab over here, and then that information comes up. Same with the Growing Through Grief class that's going to be having a few more meetings, and so we can learn more about that class here. And then if we scroll down, we'll see one-time events. So this one is obviously happening as we speak. If we want to learn more about race relations, which is happening on Thursday, just click on the tab. This is a class that the United Methodist Association of Retired Clergy is putting on. And that's going to be on September 20th, and so on and so forth. So that's where you can find information about some different one-time events. And then here we have information about our ongoing small groups, and you can find those here when they meet. If they have a Zoom link, you'll find that here. And then we have music and arts classes, which we don't have anything going on right now. So again, I feel like that's pretty straightforward. I think what people have struggled with a lot with these is that they didn't realize they needed to click on these to get more information about them. So I've tried to include notes where I include this function on the website, but that's always something, again, where if people have questions about that and you know this information, we can help each other out with that. And yeah, I think that's it. So this just, again, helps us from having a web page that just you scroll and scroll and scroll down it to find one bit of information. So that's been, I think kind of nice, because people don't have to look so long for the one thing that they're looking for on a web page. So I've been trying to use more things like this. Did you have a question, Ben?
Yeah, there is a way to find things on a website that doesn't depend on their search function. For example, I found the word rising on our website, and I did it by going to, I use Start Page instead of Google, but anyway, you put the word site : arvadaumc.org /rising, and it went to hunger relief at Arvada UMC.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Holiday outreach, homelessness and housing. So that is if I wanted to find something for sure, that's the way I would do it.
Okay, that's great to know.
It looks at the actual content of the page and not just the title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really the struggle with the search function for the website. And they've made some improvements even just since I've got some of those complaints. I have been able to find more and more things coming up in our search function, but it's still not perfect. So
if you move your cursor over a live link, notice how it changes.
Yes. Yep. So you can see here.
So you can see how the arrow changes to, it looks like a hand with a finger pointing on it,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's a great thing to point out.
But not everyone knows how to do that, I guess.
Right. Yep. And we also use that function a lot in the e-blasts. And I do try to say, like click on the image above or click on the link, but I think it's good to know that. So thank you for pointing that out. And
there's another thing with HTML too, and that is that the color of a link in text can change as you mouse over it. I noticed that none of these are doing that, and I don't know whether that's something you want to do or not. Well, now that does.
Yeah. So this one here is, I have to insert the hyperlink for it to do that.
Oh,
So on my end, so yeah, if you ever notice something on the website that isn't hyperlinked, definitely let me know, because I try to hyperlink everything that I add in if it's a website. So,
right.
yeah, okay. So that's the adult small groups page, and we put a lot of stuff on this page. So if you're ever just wondering what studies or what groups we have going on, it's almost always on this page. And if it isn't, I'm slacking. So next we have the music and arts page. This is one of the few exceptions to having a drop down menu and a drop down menu. And so you can see here, we've got the subpage music and the arts, and then we've got info about the ensembles, because it's just a lot of information to include on one page. Our community ensembles, and then some things that Tim likes to have up, the vocal warm-up tutorials, and then summer arts camp, even though that feels like a long ways off, we keep that up year round just because people are already looking for signups pretty early on, and really in January. So so we do keep that one up all year round, but for this, we'll just look at the music and arts main page here. So this just tells about our music and arts ministry, and Tim is usually the one updating a lot of this descriptive info. We've got a calendar here. It's not always up to date, I'll be honest. But sometimes I do put concerts and different AUMC events going on there. We've got info about our new music associate, Ariel. If you haven't met them, they're great, and highly suggest getting to know them a little bit if you have the chance. So again, we had info about, this is our theme for the year. How can I keep from, kind of playing on the song, obviously, but how can I keep from dancing, singing, all the things. So, and following in with that theme, we've had some recent meetings, the art showcase. Then we've got this AUMC concert series, and that's basically it. I try to keep this concert series up to date. I try to keep meetings up to date. Yeah, and then we'll go ahead and look at the ensembles too. So this is a page that Tim is in charge of, but he keeps all this info up to date about the current ensembles that he has going. You can see the descriptions here. So this is just a good place to learn more about the individual arts ministries, and if you want to get involved in one of these groups. So that's really his realm, and I don't do too much with it, but I just want you to know that it's there. So if you are interested in music ministry, that's a good place to learn more about those. We're gonna, children and family, we'll go to that one quick. These children and the youth ministry pages are a work in progress, as we've had these transitions with Melissa France out of her position. These pages did kind of, they did not get updated. The information was not very accurate for a long time. But now with Ariel and with Emily on staff, and Colette not having to do as much, because over the summer she was covering children's ministry and her youth, so she was really busy. And so now that we have them in this position, this is going to stay up to date a lot more. So if you have people interested in children's ministry, refer them here. I also have, again, another widget here where people can click on our children's ministry newsletters if they want to learn more about what's happening week to week. So if we click on these downloadable items here, when you click on this, it doesn't immediately take you to a PDF, and that's really annoying. And I haven't figured out how to fix it on our website. So you click on this and you think you're not seeing anything. What you have to do is come down here to this little button. Can everyone see this down here? And you have to click on this download, and it doesn't actually download it onto your hard drive. It just pulls it up in a new tab. And then you can see this children's ministry newsletter here. So again, that's a feature on our website that is kind of hard to work around, and it's not the most convenient. But it's the same thing with the circuit rider. It's
But
just
once it's on your screen, usually there's a place that you can click to download, like for example, right there, right by your cursor.
Yep.
We'll
So if you
download it.
if you want to download or print it from here, you can do that. So yeah, so it's just a question of getting past. Oh, let's see if I can get back here. Sorry. Get back to that screen. Yeah, it's just a question of knowing that you have to click on this because it's super small, really easy to miss. And so I just want people to know that for any downloadable PDFs on our website, you do have to click on this little button here to actually see it. So if we go back, again, we're back to the children's ministry page. Not really much more to see here. We just have some info about family worship and Sunday school. And then same with the youth programs, it just has their meetings times. We'll go ahead and stop at United Women in Faith. So, sorry, I'll just pause quick. Does anyone have any questions so far that I've talked over?
I appreciated the diversity in the images in the children's area.
Oh, good.
Person in the wheelchair and the different colored folks.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad. So this is the United Women in Faith page. And again, I work closely with Marcia and other United Women in Faith folks to try to keep this as updated as possible. We do duplicate some of the events from like the adult small groups page. So, you know, specifically United Women in Faith and Challenging Racism are sponsoring this event. So this event is also found on both of their pages. They have a Zoom book discussion coming up. And then just more information about each of their circles and contact information. Jesse, you're on here. I don't know if you were voluntold or not, but you're there. So we've got the contact information for the different circles that are current. And so try to keep that updated. Sometimes, you know, things just lapse and I don't always know about it, and that's okay. But if you're ever on the website and you see something that looks out of date, please let me know and I'll try to get in touch with the right people to update that. So we'll go to the Creation Care Team webpage. So this is just got a brief description. I'm so sorry. Please excuse my cat. This is Sunny. So first we've got just a little video that we filmed at the Heart of AUMC event with Randy talking a little bit about the Creation Care Team, and then a video about composting resources in the Arvada area. You'll see over on the right here, we've got page content. So this again are those quick links to things that you can find as you scroll down. If you just don't want to look through everything, you can just skip to mission opportunities, which this is old, but I left it up anyway in case people were interested for next year. And so scrolling back to the top, on the right side here, we also have the Creation Care monthly tips. So we put these out in the newsletter when they first come out, but if you want to ever just go look through old ones, they're always available here. And then we have events that are coming up for Creation Care. I need to add a few here, but you can see the info about the Green Homes tour. And then we have upcoming learning opportunities. So there's this fall program, Creation Justice 101. United Women in Faith has a Just Energy series going on right now. And they're well into this series, I believe. These are the last 2 classes in that series. But yeah, lots of different great information about how you can be involved. Some resources are, you know, upcoming classes, but some are just things you can look at anytime, really. So that's Creation Care. Any questions about that page?
I just want to say I've never looked at that before.
Really?
I'm ashamed to say. And I'm really glad to see it, and I'm gonna have to look at it because there's lots of stuff I didn't know was there.
Yep. And when just another note too. So as Ben pointed out, a lot of like when you're going through the e-blast, a lot of times if you hover over an image, you'll see that it's actually linked to something. So like every time I put something for creation care in the e-blast Sharon, I put the little creation care header and then I link this web page. So if people hover over that image and realize it's a link, they can click on it and come directly to this page.
Wonderful.
So in addition to like, if I put the creation care tips, I put those as their own link, but I always link this web page as well. So yeah, that's the creation care page. We go back to menu. We'll kind of fly through the rest of these. It's all kind of the same. Upcoming events, a description about the team, and that's basically it. Some pages just have more going on than others, depending on how active the group is and things like that. Again, like Colorado Legislative Matters, this one really needs to be updated. But this page has just information about different causes that we as United Methodists, might be called to care about. And how we can advocate for them. And the Girton box helped me keep this one updated.
That was gonna be my next question. Where do you get the information? Yeah.
Yep. So the Girton box really just tell me what to put on there and I update it for them. And then we try to link it and have information about it in worship during the legislative season. So right now it's not up to date because there's not much going on. So.
Well, and so if there's legislative things about the environment, we need to tell you about it.
That would be great. And we can link it to that page as well as the creation care page. And
Okay.
I had a conversation with Mary
Yeah, good.
about that. So we did talk about that a little more.
She knows
too.
that then? Does she
Yeah.
know that? Okay,
Yep.
good. Thank you.
So this is our community organizations page. And so it's a very simple page. It's just who we have meeting here currently. And again, this is a click on it on the left here and you get more info. And then these are groups that we've just tried to have this info available. If people used to come to the foot clinic here and they come looking for this information, well, that group no longer meets here. So we just try to have that available too, so that people know where to find that group that no longer meets here. So if you're familiar with any groups that might be beneficial to add to either of these lists, whether they're currently meeting here or no longer meeting, let me know.
That's a great feature.
Yeah.
So where did the foot clinic go?
Let's see.
What does it say?
It doesn't
It's
say.
down on 52nd Avenue. You know where Instrom is? Instrom Candies
Yeah.
on 52nd. It's in the building behind that.
Oh.
V&A has a whole section,
Yeah.
and the foot clinic is in there.
That ought to be on there.
Yeah, I can definitely add that. Right now, I guess we just have contact info because I had just gotten that from Deb. So yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, it took me a while to find it.
Okay. Yeah, so we can definitely add that. And so then we have a page for the library. Again, I think all this information just stays pretty consistent and doesn't change too much. This is the page I was talking about earlier, so we'll go ahead and take a quick look at that. The online learning opportunities. So this is where we put trainings. It's where we put past studies, past Bible studies. We've had some social justice classes here that were recorded. All of the arts adagio classes from this past spring were recorded. And so those are available, and then book studies. So again, these are those shortcut links. You can use them if you like. I prefer just to scroll through. So you can see we have a family promise, this recorded training from March. Courageous Conversations was held I don't think I had a date for that. It was in 2019, it looks like. So you can click on these: week 1, week 2, week 3. This is recorded Bible studies. So this is Encountering the Word from 2021. And then we've got invitation to Romans, and Luke and Acts are available here. These social justice classes, arts adagio, and book studies. So if you've ever participated in a study and you miss a week, like so for Luke and Acts, I was uploading these. Usually Camille would send me the recording on Mondays. I would edit the recording and upload it to YouTube and have it available usually by Tuesday night. So sometimes there was a lapse, but this is where people would come if they missed a class and they wanted to know what was said before the next week. They could come here and watch the class. But it's also just if you didn't get to participate in the class at all, and there's still things you can get from, you might not be actively participating in the discussion, but you get to jump on and hear what other people thought of the book or the study. So we just try to have those available even beyond when the class is done, because, or, if you participated in the class and something had really struck you, but you can't remember what it was, you can go back and refer to these too. So I like to keep these up here. You can see sometimes we have a problem with the recording or whatever, and so a week can't get uploaded, but that's really what this page is.
That's
and-
great.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's basically it. This page is going to become important soon. AUMC Foundation. For those that don't know, we're going to be working on a campaign starting in January of 2023 of increasing the endowment of AUMC's endowment. And so you'll be hearing a lot more about that in the coming months. Especially you'll hear about it in October for the stewardship sermon series. Amy's going to touch on that a little bit, but we're really going to start ramping up communications for that in January. So you'll learn more about that, but that's where you'll come for that information. All the updated information about that campaign will be on this page when it becomes available. It's just not yet. So I did want to point that out. I'm not sure I was really supposed to debut the endowment, but I think it's important that you know where to go to find that information when it becomes available. So you didn't hear it from me, but it's recorded, so I can't really avoid it. But then how we serve. So I want to just highlight the difference between our ministries and how we serve, because our ministries is more of classes and things that you can participate in. But how we serve is really about our volunteer work. So this has what used to be Faith in Action is now we're with this Pick Your Passion campaign that they launched the past few weeks is really just our ministry teams is what we're calling them. Because we don't want people to be intimidated by that. If they're a part of Faith in Action, they have to do everything Faith in Action does, and they're all of a sudden sign their name in blood to commit to doing all this volunteer work. So we want people to, as the campaign says, pick their passion and get involved with maybe just one of these teams if they find it too overwhelming to do a lot of volunteer work. So first we've got school outreach, and this page, because the donation drive isn't going on right now, is pretty empty, but when we have a donation drive going on, that info gets put here, or you can find info about the contact info for the team leaders, which is Sandra Browers and Barb Stolte, and just about what this group does throughout the year. So pretty simple. And then over here, we'll jump to homelessness.
I have a question.
Sure. Yep.
What is that donate now down there about?
So
you can give money, and how do you do that?
Yeah, we're gonna have Jenna bring that full circle in a little bit, but
Okay,
this is on every single web page on our website. So I'll show you when we move over to homelessness and housing here, you'll see it's also at the bottom of this page. And that's our contact info, our email, Facebook, YouTube, Shelby, email, all of that is linked on every single page at the bottom. It's like our footer, I guess is what they're called, really, for the whole website. So no matter what page you click on, these are available. And then Faith Connector here, this little bit, that's the website company that we go through to run our website. So that's just what that is.
okay,
So going back to the top of here, this is our homelessness and housing page. And again, this is one of the exceptions to the rule of getting to have a sub page, because Habitat for Humanity has its own sub page here just because their contact information is different and they have pretty frequent things going on that get updated more. Over here, you can find quick links to the Rising, to Family Promise, and to Habitat for Humanity. So the contact for this team for right now is Katie. Sorry, did someone have a question? No? Okay. So the contact is Katie. You can see starting next Sunday, we're going to have a severe weather donation drive. So all of that info about what to donate is going to be available here. There's also information about donating money for sleeping bags. And then the contact for that ministry is Sandy Strong. So that's available here. I linked last Friday's announcement here because it was about this ministry. And then we've got Family Promise. So their upcoming host week, they've already done this one, but they've got another one coming up on October 9th. Again, Katie's the contact. And then this is a little video about actually a family that AUMC has helped at Family Promise this year that they did. We didn't do this video, but Family Promise did it. So we went ahead and linked that here so that people can kind of just make it feel more personal. So that's the homelessness and housing. We can dive a little deeper and go to Habitat here. So we got the info about the pumpkin patch coming up, the sign up link. Again, like Ben was talking about, when you hover over this, it turns a different color. That means it's hyperlinked. So if I click on this and I click over here, it takes me to the sign up if I want to access that. And then I'm so sorry, my cat's just turned the light off. My goodness.
That's a talented cat.
I'll tell you what, they are talented. Mars got me, thanks. And so, yeah, and then down here, this is usually at the top of this page, but right now the pumpkin patch is taking precedence, but we keep the build days updated as well here. And then, so if we go back, get out of homelessness and housing, we'll go to hunger relief. Again, kind of the same old. We've got information about the garden market, the Dolores Project. This info basically stays the same all the time, but then here we've got an upcoming dinner that we're serving on the 25th. So this info will change based on when we've got a dinner coming up, and then a sign up link if people want to sign up to help with that. And then we've got info about the Rising. And they're usually set for volunteers, but we keep Linda's info here just in case they want to get somebody new in the rotation. And then that same link that I showed before of the video about the Rising and the work that they do. Does anyone have any questions about any of this?
well, about the Dolores Project, I've
Sure.
always been curious about that. So what do you sign up to do that too, or what? Where's, oh, there it says online sign up. I see.
Yep. So if you hover over this, it'll, again, you can click on this link here. And it takes you to this sign up. And so then if you want to sign up to bring boneless chicken thighs, I can click sign up, submit and sign up.
Oh, I see.
And then I could leave my name,
I
email, any comments, and then I'd hit sign up now. I'm going to click cancel because I'm not going to sign up to bring chicken thighs at this time. But
I see.
yep. And yeah, more contact info here for Gertenbach's and for Bobby. So yeah, that's hunger relief. I'm not going to go through each of these. Holiday outreach and global outreach are similar. We'll jump to the donations page quick. So again, this is just where you can find links to Shelby, like different online giving options, our 2022 stewardship pledge card if you want that. So this is clearly old, needs to be updated. Gonna let somebody in here. Hi, Catherine. Oh, she's not connected yet. Hi, Catherine. So yeah, there's some different ways you can donate to the flower ministry, in-kind gifts. So that just has more information about donating. And like I said, Jenna's going to talk more about our online donations. So we'll let her go over that in a little bit. So that's how we serve. And then worship services. So first we're going to look at the in-person worship bulletins. So when I click on that, it takes me here. I am trying to figure out what would be better. I think some people would like to see our actual like bulletin that we hand out at church somehow on here. And that would be kind of tricky, but I'm trying to see if there's a way I can do that. But for now, I basically just take all the text and make it available for people who are either just don't want to have a physical worship bulletin for like creation care reasons, or if they are watching the live stream and want that available to them online. So that's pretty simple. There's also our check into online worship here and our online donation button here as well. So I update this every week for our online worshipers mostly. And then if we click on current worship series, so this is right now our September series, Hope in Strange Places. And you can just come down and find the links for various weeks. So if you want to, this is just where if you can always go to find the worship links if you prefer this as opposed to finding it on the homepage, basically. Or if you want to learn more about the sermon series, we have the Friday announcement video that we made for that and things like that. So, and then these are another page where I'm not sure they get used all the time, but I just like to have them available for people. So if you really liked a certain sermon series and you are having trouble remembering what it was or how to find it, these are all just links to our YouTube page. So the January we had Advent, and then the Google It sermon series. In February we had the Grounded sermon series. So let's just say we wanted to look at May, My Imperfect Family. If I click on this, it takes us to a YouTube page. So it pulls up the first service, but then you can see over here on the right that it's got all of the services from that month in a playlist that you can then click on if you'd like to look at more of the services or rewatch them or whatever. So yeah, like I said, I'm not sure that a ton of people use these pages, but I just like to make sure that it's easy to go back and find old worship services if there's something that really struck you that you want to go back to. And I have the same thing built in for 2021. So these there used to be a tab on the menu for every single one of these sermon series. And so again, that's where like the drop down menu just got so crowded and so overwhelming. So this is how I decided to sort them. So these are actually a little different than the last page, because this is how I formatted them the first time. So you can click on any one of these and they have the actual individual worship service. So if I want to click on this one, for instance, it'll start playing here. And then if I want to pull it up on a big screen and watch it on YouTube, I have to click on this little YouTube icon, and it takes me to a new link here where then I can watch it on a bigger screen. So those are formatted a little differently, but it's the same thing as what you saw on the other page, just for 2021. And you can find all of the quick links here again. Any questions about the worship services pages? All right. Forms and registration. This one doesn't have a drop-down menu. If you click on this, the only form that we have right now are this eBlast sign up if you want to fill that out, if you're not on the eBlast already. And then the planning form. This used to be called the building use form, and now it's the planning form. And in just a second, we're going to transition into talking about this really quickly. Oh, sorry, wrong page. But this is where you can find it, as well as, like we said, on the bottom of the homepage. So if you're ever looking for that, that's an easy place to go for it. And then, so under this Safe and Connected tab, we have the building usage policy. And then most of this other stuff really came to light and came about during COVID, to my knowledge. So this is some classes on how to use different technology that we started using for the first time during COVID. Spirituality resources for at home, mental health resources. So a lot of that probably won't stay on the website for much longer, to be honest, but I've just been keeping it available right now because it's not really hurting anything there. But if I feel like that section is getting too cluttered at any point, I'll probably start taking some of that down. If you'd like to request prayer, really all this does is take you to a landing page with the email, and then if you click on this, it will take you to a link where you can email out from there. But you can find this info also on the homepage. And then KDD, if you'd like to learn more about their accreditation, general info, history. If we click on their landing page, just got a nice staff photo of them. And then again, those links to that information. So pretty simple. We don't really do a lot with these pages. I think KDD refers them, but they kind of manage them themselves. So yeah, so now I think we're going to move on to the planning form if people don't have any more questions about kind of the layout of the website. So now would be a good time to ask those if you do have any more. One other thing I do want to point out now that I'm thinking about it, if you ever just want to get back to the homepage, you get, like I said, you get all the way down that rabbit hole and you're not sure how to find your way back out. It's actually not on the menu page here. You just click on the logo at the top of the page, and that takes you right back to the home page. So that's something that took me a long time to figure out. And so I'd like all of you to know it too, and not have to figure it out the hard way after months of not knowing it. So a lot of websites are like that too, though, I've found. So
yeah, it's considered good practice.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to the planning form. So I'm just going to go right down here to the bottom of the home page. I'll click on it and open it up. So we're not going to go crazy with this, but I just want to walk people through this. This is anytime you want to use AUMC's building, or anytime you want to get something on AUMC's calendar, this is the form you're going to use. And I think sometimes people think it's one or the other, but it's both, that you want to get it on AUMC's calendar and that you're having it in the building. But for instance, I filled out a planning form for this class, even though we're not having it at the church. I still wanted it on that Shelby calendar that we looked at earlier. And this is how you get something on the Shelby calendar. And it's also how people like Kyle and Drew and Dick and Deb know what kind of setup is needed at the church if the event is happening at the church. So it's both, and you want to be filling this out for anything you want the AUMC community to know about and anything that's happening at the church. So first you'll just put, if you're the contact, if you're the person filling it out, you're likely the contact for it. Your contact info, the title of the event or the meeting, the date. Is your event meeting recurring? No, it's just a one-time meeting, or yes, it is. So if I click no, nothing else is going to pop up. If I click yes, you see that this drop-down menu expands and it's going to ask me to put in all the dates or the end dates. And so there's a lot of things like this as you're going through, that if you click on a certain answer, you don't have to answer any more questions. And if you click on another answer, more questions will come up for you. That's why we cannot print this document out and fill it out by hand, because all of those questions won't open up if you try to print it and fill it out and turn it in printed. So this has to be filled out online. So we've got questions about any setup and end time needed, the name of or type of group. You'll see here, this is just for, our information in terms of communicating it to the church and stuff, but also just the fees associated with the event differ depending on if it's an AUMC group or a non-AUMC group, things like that. Do you require AV setup? So we need to know this pretty far in advance, because getting Drew booked can be tricky. And finding a replacement for Drew can be even trickier. So if your event has any projector needs, sound system needs, anything like that, we try to get that information as early as possible. But if you fill out a planning form and you don't know that information yet, what Deb has asked is that you email her and also probably fill out a new planning form with the updated information, because she takes these planning forms and puts them in a folder that Drew and Kyle and Dick and Doug access to see what's needed. So she needs to have the most updated planning form in that folder with the most updated information, if that makes sense. Yeah, Ben, go ahead.
So once you get it filled out, does it populate reports for each group that has something to do with this, or does it basically just but Deb just has to print it out and put it in a file and distribute it that way? How's that work?
So it sends you like a response email saying that you filled it out, and it gives you all the answers that you said, like it has all your answers in the form and stuff. But yeah, then Deb, I'm not sure what kind of info it compiles on the other side, honestly, but Deb takes them all and she puts them in a file, and coordinates with the other people needed. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
I just filled one out today, and I got it back already. And it always confuses me when I get it back, because I don't know what it means, because it's just a list of what I filled out.
Yeah, that's a great point, Sharon. So it's not a confirmation. It's just so that you know what information you've already given.
Okay.
So it's not confirming that your event is booked 100% certain.
So when does it actually get booked? Is it when Deb books it, or when this is filled out and submitted?
It's when Deb books it. So I think I'm assuming that Deb I mean, does Deb confirm with y'all that it's for sure booked, or?
Well, she let me know that, like, when we met on Sunday, we were supposed to meet. We asked to meet in the chapel, and she let me know that wasn't available. And so we moved it, and then she let me know that it was available. So we moved it back. But
Right.
those kind of things. But I don't know how soon but the thing about it is now I know where to go to the calendar to see if there's another group meeting
Yep.
at the same time. And I didn't know that before. And I just took a chance, that it would work.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was going to say too. If you're wondering if your event has for sure been booked or not, if it's on the calendar, she's added it.
Yeah.
So that's probably a good first practice to go, is just check the calendar and make sure it's been booked. But that's a great follow-up question for me to talk with Deb about, and make sure that she's emailing people when she adds things to the calendar and confirming with them that their event has been added to the calendar.
Yeah,
So
that would be really helpful.
okay.
I
Does
know
your
she has a lot to do.
Mhm.
but-
So we don't have to walk through this form word for word. I just mostly wanted all of you to know that as you click on things, more questions might pop up based on your answer. We've also added this communications form. So again, do you want your events promoted to the AUMC community? If you hit no further questions. If you hit yes, a whole bunch of new questions pop up. And like I said, the biggest thing is, if you want to get your event on the calendar, but you maybe don't have all the information yet, that's okay. Fill out the planning form, at least with the date and time of your meeting and what room you want it in. And then you can always fill out a second one down the road when you have more information, when you have a description for the event for me, and you want to add that into the communication section, or when you have more info about what you need for an AV setup and stuff. But I really want to stress, at least fill one out early and try to get your date booked, and then fill out another one later when you have all of that follow-up information.
Well, I have a question.
Mhm.
So let's take the animal blessing on October 9th.
Mhm.
Okay, you know about it, but I didn't fill out a form for it.
I think you did.
I did?
Yep, I think so. I'm pretty sure I have one.
Well,
But I can double check, but I'm pretty sure we have one already. But
we talked about it. Okay.
but if we don't have one, we would want one for that. So I can double check and make sure. But yeah, that's definitely something we'd want one for.
And also the bike to church day.
Yep.
That one. I know I didn't.
I don't have one for that. I found out about that through Lauren. So yeah, you'll want to fill one out for that.
I still need to do that?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, even if we know about something, I think the thing that we're running into a lot is, like, I found out secondhand through Lauren about that. I don't even know if Deb knows about it. And maybe you've talked to her personally, but what happens when you fill out a planning form is that Deb, Lauren, and I all get an email, and maybe Jenna too. I don't know. There's a lot of people that get an email with your planning form attached as soon as you submit it.
Okay.
And so then there's not this confusion of, like, oh, did I tell Deb or did I tell Olivia? It just goes to all of us via email, and we all have it available to us, the same info. And I think that's like, it really takes out a lot of those big question marks. So
I understand that, but I didn't understand it before because I was just relying on you to get it out. So
totally understand.
I'll have to go back and fill those out, I guess.
And that's a change. And I think we're all adjusting to that. And why we're here talking about it right now, because it used to be a slightly different system, and we're trying to move more towards this so that we're all on the same page all of the time. So it's a change, and we totally get that it's we're all navigating it. So it's not going to be perfect tomorrow, but we are hoping that, the more we get used to it, the better gets at, you know, always having a planning form filled out. So if you have more questions about the planning form, I think that's more of a one-on-one discussion of like, I think it's a pretty in-depth form. And so if you ever want to just fill one out with me or Deb, I'm happy to do that. So if you have an event, just contact one of us and we'd be happy to walk through it for that specific event. It's just kind of hard to fill one out without actual information to input into it. So let's definitely talk one-on-one if we want to go over that more. I think that's it for my part of this. I'm gonna hand stuff over to Jenna. I'll stop sharing my screen here. And we're gonna let her take over as she's gonna tell us a little bit about how to donate on Shelby, how to see your past donations, and also talk a little bit about filling out other forms that aren't the planning forms. So like registration forms for events and things like that. So let me see. I got to make sure I've made it.
Thank you. Yeah.
There,
you.
does that work for you?
Let's see.
Okay.
Yep, it sure did.
Okay.
So, can you all see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay. So, my piece is not that big, but like Olivia said, if you have questions as we go along, just shout them out. And I can address them as we go. And also, as Sharon and Olivia were noticing, at the bottom of every web page of our website is this Donate Now link. So you can come here and you can either make your one-time donation or a recurring donation. And I'm sure you guys have probably done this before, but this drop-down list, I want to say rotates, but we kind of have the biggies on here year round. And then, you know, when Easter comes up or Christmas or different things, school supplies, I can kind of make those active here so that that money gets to the right fund. So if you're noticing something, I do kind of look at this periodically, but if you're noticing something like Easter in September, then please let me know that that should be removed. But I think this is all pretty up to date. I know we don't like to have a whole huge list here so that this is a pretty large list as it is, but just so it doesn't get overwhelming to people. But also if you notice something on here that should be on here, or I kind of try to take inventory sometimes of like a lot of people are giving, you know, to memorial gifts or what have you, then I can always adjust this list as well. So
Yeah,
just fun. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the green team has been changed to Creation Care Team.
Oh, good. Okay. Yep. I will change
I wish
that.
it were still green team, but it's not. So,
Okay. Making a little note here real quick.
yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. So then, you know, you can put however much here, and then it kind of takes you to your payment screen here. Excuse me, however you'd like to pay. Billing information, I will not do that, especially since this is being recorded. And then likewise, if you want to make this a recurring gift, you can kind of set those parameters here as well.
Mhm.
And then I'll go over to forms. So I can create forms. I'm kind of feeling my way through the process, but I created this form with the help of Olivia's beautiful graphic here for the Planned Parenthood Women in Faith Tea Party recently. So I am able to create this for folks. I'm sure Olivia probably gave a disclaimer that any kind of campaign that she's working on needs some sort of lead time, a couple weeks or something in the ballpark. The more time, the better. So I would ask the same thing if you need a form for me. And I would also ask just to make sure that you actually need a form. So like, obviously, if you're collecting money, that would be a good event to have a form for. I don't know why else you would really need a form, maybe for tracking purposes.
Yeah, I think like for something like United Women in Faith, they were doing donations, and there was also like kind of a security concern because of the nature of the event. So if it's something like that, or like for, we didn't do a registration for like our Pride event, but that might be something where we would want to know who's coming.
yeah,
And if somebody wasn't on a sign up list, like we might just, and they weren't from our community and we weren't familiar with them, we might just at the door ask them a few questions or something. That's really the only, like you said, Jenna, I mean, those are the only reasons I can think of that you'd want to have a registration form. Or if you just want to like gather people's emails so you can contact them right before the event. Otherwise, if you just have a Zoom link, we'll just post that on the website and people don't really need to register for that. So yeah.
you. So just kind of like the building form, you just kind of go through this, fill it out. There can be static text here too. So if you have an event and you want, schedule here, or to, gather information about childcare, or if you were willing to carpool or what have you, I can put kind of all of these sections into the form. And then again, this kind of payment option is similar to the Donate Now website payment ability. So after you submit that, and then you can also set to have like your responses emailed to you. So I think kind of like Sharon and Olivia were talking about, she got her responses, but she doesn't know what that means. I can set a kind of auto email to the person filling it out about, here's your receipt or your receipt of responses. I know for this tea party, that was kind of the ticket into the event, was that confirmation email. So I can set that up also. Can set this up to accept a certain number of registrations if you're limited, or to have it expire at a certain time also. And then what I've done before, I've only done a few of these, but like Marcia, who was kind of heading this up, I set her up to be web admin during this portion of the planning, so that both she and I would receive email notifications whenever a registration would come through, so she could see who's coming through, and then also look at a master list of who all was registered. So that's that. Any questions on forms? Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to just kind of highlight here was in Shelby, your Shelby profile. Then whenever you make monetary gifts, or like me, who tests them and then refunds it, your giving history is under your profile. And then I believe this is the same for users. My profile is slightly different just because I have more admin access, but I believe everybody should have this giving tab that shows their online giving history, which would be either the Donate Now dropdown or through a form, anything via Shelby that you're paying. Any questions?
I don't think so. That was great, Jenna. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
We just want to mention too, if any of this was like, if you need a more baseline level, and like Jessie and I had talked about, she had asked me, should she still come to this class if she's not very familiar with any of this? And I said, yeah. And I think that got Jenna and I thinking, if you just need a more baseline level of any of this information, let's chat one-on-one and go over stuff. I'm happy to do that with anyone who wants to know more about the website or Shelby. And I think Jenna, you said you are too. So definitely email us and set up a meeting if you'd like. My email is communications@arvadaumc.org. Jenna's is Jenna, GENA @arvadaumc.org. Right, Jenna?
Yep.
Okay,
Thanks.
perfect. So definitely feel free to email us and set something up if you want to just meet one-on-one if this was kind of hard to follow in this format or whatever. And we're happy to do that. And like I said too about the website and even about Shelby, we're always learning new things about it. We're always learning new features that we can work with. So bear with us. Things are going to keep changing, and we're going to be navigating those changes and challenges right alongside all of you. And so it is just a constant learning process with the technology that we're using. New features become available on the website every day that I can use, and I do like using them. I do like making our website a little more fun, a little easier to look at, but I also want it to be functional for all of you. I mean, that's the goal. So definitely don't be afraid to give me feedback if there's anything that I can make more user friendly too. With that being said, I think we've kept you all long enough. We're kind of right on time for what I thought we would be, but I secretly was hoping I wouldn't keep you for an hour and a half, but I'm glad that we covered everything that we did. So